Hi, my name is Gaurav Sant. I'm a professor of engineering at UCLA, and I'm also the founder of Sea Change. Sea Change is the winner of the 2021 Livability Challenge. One of the things that the challenge has been really instrumental at is helping us find partnerships in Singapore and work with the Public Utilities Board, where we are now building a demonstration plant to demonstrate the Sea Change technology in Singapore. What the Livability Challenge really helped us with is to think about going from a relatively small scale concept to building a technology that we could demonstrate in the real world. And Singapore is one of the two places in the world that we will first do this demonstration, if all goes to plan, in fact, in 2022.
Hi, welcome. We're here now with Gaurav Sant, who's the founder of Sea Change, the winner of the 2021 Livability Challenge. And I'm going to ask you a few questions on progress so far, if you don't mind, Gaurav. First of all, briefly explain a bit about how the technology works.
Yeah, so Sea Change is an approach to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere using the world's oceans as the mediums to do it with. So the simple way of explaining it is we send an electrical current into seawater, and we use electricity to recombine the constituents of seawater, which is calcium and magnesium ions as an example, combine them with carbon dioxide that's dissolved in seawater to be able to lock up carbon dioxide in the form of solid minerals and what are known as bicarbonate ions. The simple way of explaining this is by using an analogy to a dish sponge. Do your dishes, you've got a really wet sponge, wring it out, and it's ready to absorb some more water again. So what we're really trying to do is, in essence, give the world's oceans the capacity to absorb additional carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which reduces atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations, which are a primary driver of climate change.
Okay. You sort of answered my next question, but why does the world need your technology now?
I think we've seen this come about more and more and more. Every single projection, every single IPCC report tells us very clearly, very categorically that climate change and the effects of it are accelerating, becoming much more severe, becoming much more frequent. And all of this is linked to the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. What we're trying to do is couple an engineering intervention with a really large natural system, because the scale of the carbon management challenge is enormous, and we need to really combine top flight engineering with really big natural systems to be able to make a difference. And that's what Sea Change seeks to achieve.
Now, there are numerous types of carbon capture technology around in the world at the moment. Some old, some emerging. Why is yours better?
When we started to think about the underpinnings of Sea Change, what we were really focused on is being able to achieve really large-scale carbon removal and abatement while doing it at an accessible and affordable cost. That's the first part. The second part that goes with it is we wanted to think about carbon management in a way that you achieve really stable, really durable carbon management. And when you lock up carbon dioxide in the form of carbonates and in the form of bicarbonate ions, you're talking about solutions that give you stability of the carbon dioxide that you immobilize for in excess of 10,000 years. When you think about the time frame, when you think about the scale, the solution that Sea Change offers has the potential to be truly transformative at a global scale. And we think that this is an important part of how we want to think about long-scale, very, very permanent, very durable carbon management solutions.
So you won the 2021 Livability Challenge, and you mentioned that the solution has a lot of potential. What sort of progress have you made since you won the Livability Challenge?
Yeah, so we've made fabulous progress. The team's been working really hard on this, and we're at the point that we're building demonstration plants that we will deploy, one each in Singapore and the other one in Los Angeles, to be able to demonstrate how the technology works in the real world, to be able to assess the economics, to assess the potential, to assess the performance. And we're doing this in a really interesting way, where while the system in Los Angeles is based in the LA port, the system in Singapore is actually being run and deployed at one of the Public Utility Board's desalination plants, where we can actually imagine and understand and study how well it integrates with desalination facilities, which not only helps to decarbonize water supply, but also gives you really the sense of how this would work if deployed at a really large scale around the world.
Okay, so it's obviously a highly complex sort of technology. What are the sort of challenges that you've faced in reaching the sort of scale that you want to see for Sea Change?
That's a great question, Robin, but I think the honest answer is we need to learn a lot more to find out. We've made a lot of progress. We've understood what the key issues that we need to address are. But really with systems of this sort, you really learn the most by operating them in the real world. So I think a very important thing is a part of the work that we'll do in Singapore, we'll actually operate the system at a PUB site for about 6 months, because you really want operational experience to help you understand what the challenges and the limitations are, so you can fix them and address them in the next iteration of the technology development cycle.
Okay, so one big challenge is cost that a lot of people talk about. What sort of progress are you making in trying to bring the cost down for this solution?
Yeah, so we've been really fortunate in that, when we start to think about this process, we're running what's known as an electrolysis process. So while you can achieve carbon removal, the next thing that you do is you end up producing hydrogen. Now, the reason that hydrogen is attractive is not only is it a fuel, but it's a fuel that you can sell in the marketplace. And so you're effectively producing a co-product that allows you to bring down the primary cost of carbon removal. We think that this is fundamentally really important, and I think based on all of the information that we have on hand, we're well on our way to meeting our cost metrics as we originally imagined. And so that's really favorable update.
Okay, so blue sky thinking, looking to the future, what are your main ambitions for Sea Change? Where do you see the project in, say, 5 or 10 years' time?
I think where we want to be is really building multiple plants around the world, each plant at the scale of 1 million tons of carbon removal a day. We've got to sort of take a step back and imagine the state of this challenge. We've got to remove about 10 billion tons of carbon dioxide starting in 2050 every year for the next 50 or 100 years. It's going to take thousands of plants to do this. And I think if we can do our part, we can make a difference by building the first units and the first tens and the hundreds of those plants that will catalyze the overall economy globally towards thinking about carbon management as being affordable and accessible. And I think that's what we want to be a part of.
Okay, so you're clearly highly ambitious with a project like this. How hopeful are you that humanity as a species can meet the 2050 net zero target?
I think it's fundamentally important to remain optimistic. Without optimism, I think it's all very hard. But we've got to balance optimism with thinking about really the difficulties and the challenges that are needed to solve a challenge at this scale, a problem at this scale. This is without a doubt one of the largest issues that humanity will tackle and has tackled and will tackle. And so once we contextualize against that, I think it's also important to say that humans have been incredibly successful at overcoming adversity. And technology has been a big part of the lives that we live, look all around us. And I think all that said, technology and science and engineering are without a doubt, at least in my opinion, the future.
Okay. Final question for you. Do you have any advice for young scientists or emerging entrepreneurs following in your footsteps, wanting to take on a massive challenge like decarbonisation?
Yeah, I think, there are sort of 3 comments I'd offer. I think the first is it's important to have big ambitions, big aspirations. I think it's important to have a really strong, grounded set of knowledge and principles that we follow. And speaking to my role as an academic, I think so much of what we do is grounded in a super solid education, not for the ability that it endows us with a degree, but it gives us the ability to think. And I think challenges of this sort are, require what are known as systemic solutions. And we need to think about a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving pieces, and bring them together. And I think staying hopeful and staying knowledgeable is a big part of that.
Gaurav Sant, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Robin.